Alrighty. Hey everyone, thanks for joining night one of Cerebro Academy. I have my good friend, someone I look up to, Mr. Jerome Scott. He's on here. Um, just a little bit about Mr. Jerome. He is a personal financial coach, as well as a great leader and a family man. He is a father, and he lives a debt-free life. So I wanted him to come on and talk to us, you guys, about financial stewardship and living debt-free life and how we can do that, especially as young people. We don't have those tools all the time given to us. So I just wanted to give us a platform tonight so that we can talk about how we can live a good life and how we can steward it well. So thanks, Mr. Jerome, for coming on again. Thank you, sir. How you doing today?
Absolutely. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm excited about this opportunity. Just be able to share, have dialogue, and speak to anybody who's willing to listen. Man, personal finance is my passion, so I'm willing to have a conversation if folks are ready to listen and glean. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. I really do appreciate this. All right, so I'm just going to ask you a question, and then we can flow from there, if that's cool. So, like, where did you start? Like, how did you become on the journey, on the road to, being debt-free and such?
Well, to be honest with you, it started with a whole lot of mistakes. But in the beginning, where all started with me, I was just having this conversation with you earlier, man, that I wish I was had the information as far as personal finances when I was in my early adulthood. But what all started with me, I believe I was probably about maybe about 27. I think when I first I guess became aware as far as this thing called personal finance. I did not grow up with knowledge about personal finances. My parents didn't teach me about it, didn't learn about it in school. It's kind of happened by a lot of trial and error and getting fed up with being broke, man. I knew there had to be more to life than what I was experiencing. And when I feel like I don't say hit rock bottom, but I got to a place where I feel like it had to be better, like in my late 20s at 27. I went to my first financial literacy class at 27, and that's where the journey began for me.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Alrighty. Well, so what would you say is the keys or the tools to starting stewarding your money well, and being a financial steward?
Yeah, absolutely. So it really begins. It has nothing to do with finances itself. It really begins with your mindset. I think that's true of anything that we desire to do in our life, whatever your endeavor is, whether it be, going to school or learning a new trade or just becoming a better person, personal development. It all starts with your mindset. And it's one thing that I kind of, I sort of coined for myself as far as when I talk to people about finances. It starts with the mind. And I asked the question, do you have an MBA? And I'm not talking about a master's, in education or anything like that. What I'm talking about is MBA, which stands for mindset, behavior, and attitude. It starts with your mindset, your behavior, and your attitude. Once you get that intact, then the rest is easy. Your mindset is literally your game plan. It's really how you think about money, how you think and view yourself, how you think and view future. And if you don't have the correct or right mindset, which leads to correct behavior and attitude in regards to your finances, even yourself as an individual, then you're gonna have a long journey ahead. Because many people they have. It's not about having enough money. It's not about having more money. It's really about what is your attitude? What is your mindset about what you already have in your hand? How are you stewarding that? Because I believe that once you get a grasp on some of the basic fundamentals on how to handle money, how to steward it, how to save, I believe in one of the foundations in personal finance is getting out of debt. And if you can get the right mindset and begin that journey of getting out of debt, then the rest would just kind of build on itself. So it starts with your mindset. You know, how do you view money? And a lot of us are trained. As I stated earlier, I didn't learn about personal finances growing up as a child or growing up in my household. My mother and father didn't teach me anything about that. I mean, we were barely making it ourselves, so they didn't have the tools to really help me. But once we get the tools and understand some of the basic foundations of financial literacy, then that's really the first step. That's really the first step in heading in the right direction.
Thank you for that. That was awesome. That was like a mouthful right there. Just the mindset, the attitude, and your behavior. Like Cerebro Academy. So, like, you said the thing about saving. So, what is your do you have like a rule or a guide to saving? Because a lot of people have those different type of things. Do you have like a rule or like a 50-20-30 rule or anything like anything of that sort that you use to save and
Yeah. So when I sort of how can I say it? How do I kind of structure as far as finances in regards to savings is most people try to do a lot of different things at the same time. They want to save money. They want to invest money. They want to get out of debt. They want to start a new business. They want to give. They want to spend. And they're doing college savings. They want to do a lot of different things. They're doing a plethora of different things at the same time, and they're not really gaining traction. So what I always like to say is you first want to at least start with the foundation. One of the foundational things is getting out of debt. Before you even start the getting out of debt journey, I advise that you have something I learned is having a baby emergency fund. You want to have at least $500 to $1,000 that you have set aside so that if any event, when an emergency happens, you can take care of that. So emergencies are going to happen. It's not a matter of if they're going to happen. It's a matter of when it's going to happen. And you want to be able to take care of any emergency that may happen as you begin to build wealth. But you want to have that emergency fund set up because to take care of those things that may or possibly will come up. Because you don't want to start this massive savings plan and then an emergency pop up, or you're investing and saving an emergency pop up, and you're relying on either a credit card or you're relying on money that you had set aside for whatever it is that you're trying to save up for. You don't want to tap into that or disrupt your plan while you're on that savings journey. So I advise that you have at least $1,000, $500 to $1,000, maybe $500 if you're single, close to $1,000 if you can, but definitely $1,000 saved aside if you are married. You definitely want to have that set aside. And so that's really the very minimal foundation that you want to have as far as the savings. And the reason I say $1,000 savings is because you don't want to build up a massive savings while you have a massive amount of debt. Because what happens is you have to think about net worth. That net worth is what? Your net worth is cash or money that you have quick access to minus the debts that you owe. That's really your net worth. So if you have $5,000 in savings and you have $20,000 in debt, you're really negative $15,000 as your net income. So you want to build that small emergency fund, $500 to $1,000, and then begin to aggressively attack your debts. And this is something that I teach anyone that I coach. It's really a basic foundational thing. So if you are in debt, I would suggest just get $1,000. Put it aside, and then massively start taking down your debt. Because what this does is, there's one thing to it before we change the next topic here. But one thing you want to know is that when it comes to debt, you're paying interest, right? So anytime you're paying interest, you're paying a penalty. Anytime that you are receiving interest by way of money you're gaining on your savings, that's a reward. So you want to minimize and eliminate all penalties, debt, or interest that you're paying out, and get in a position to where you can receive interest being paid to you. Your money needs to work for you. If your money's not working for you by getting interest paid to you, then we need to reset and get in the right position.
Yeah, I like that. I like how you used that as being a penalty and a reward for you, like that system.
Mm-hmm.
You said about letting your money work for you. That is something I talk about or try to push now because I believe last year or so, I learned that about the whole network and such. And I'm thinking, oh, I got enough in savings. I'll worry about paying debts. And then, just somehow, I don't know how I got on it. I think I was looking at some different app and the way they put it. And I was like, oh, I saw how much in the negative I was. I thought, oh, that needs to change. So it's very important, like you said, to actually look at it. I also was told that you save and then you can invest the difference. So if you want to save, like I said, 1,000 is fine to save as a base, but then the other is you should be paying off those debts and getting so that your capital isn't being exposed so much. So that is awesome about the whole letting your money work for you. How can people let their money work for them outside of what you have just said? How can they do that?
Well, the ways you get money work for you, of course, is a basic savings account. It doesn't really pay anything. When I was talking about savings earlier, the savings is really a holding place for your money. It's not a place where you can look to earning really any type of interest being paid to you. I mean, you look at the bank's interest that they pay to you for a basic savings account. It's pennies. So saving up that emergency fund, that's really a holding place, some place you can get quick access to that money in case of an emergency. But in a way to get your money to work for you, one of the ways that many working Americans they have access to long-term investing by way of 401ks or by way of some people invest in real estate. But 401ks, 401bs, if you're in the teaching or the education industry, mutual funds, Roth 401ks and regular 401ks. 401k, the regular is pre-tax, and then a Roth 401ks that's after tax, and really that's really the best option as far as getting a Roth 401 because your money grows. Yes, you're paying it after taxes, but your money grows tax-free. And when it's time to pull that money out, you've already paid your taxes on that money, so you get to pull it out tax-free. So your money is growing tax-free and you can pull it out tax-free. That's really the route you want to go because we know that inflation happens. And if you're not pulling out this money for, another 20 years, 20 plus years, after that 20 years, you want to be able to pull that hard-earned money that you saved without getting penalized, without paying inflation, without paying interest. And the way to do that is through a Roth IRA. So 401k retirement savings, any type of retirement savings, your money is working for you. You're getting at least, between 7 to 12% growth. And you're talking about compound interest. Another plug I like to put in there too is that the earlier you can start that. I know that some of your audience is youth and millennials, but the earlier you can start that, the better, because you'll be so much further ahead by starting early and saving a little than waiting late and saving a lot. I feel like I waited a little bit later in life or further later in life than I really wanted to, but you'll be so much further in life or so much further in your financial journey in building wealth if you start early and save a little. If you start at the age of 18 and you put $100, $150 away, $200 away a month, by the time you're ready to retire, you will guarantee you will be a millionaire, a multimillionaire. But if you wait until in your 40s and 50s, and before you start thinking about saving anything, and you decide, okay, I didn't save $200 when I was, at 18 or in my early 20s, and you wait until your 40s and 50s to try to save this massive amount of money, the person that started at 18 is going to be a lot further ahead at retirement than a person who waited longer in life, but yet started putting away large amounts of money later on in life. So I would say start early in your retirement investing, and you will not be sorry. You won't regret it, but you will regret it if you wait a little bit later or much later in life. But either way, there's still hope. I want to tell anyone out there that's listening, whether you're young and you're starting to get a head start, great, or whether you're late and you're, I would say in your 50s, it's never too late. The point is just start now. They say the two best times, I've heard this quote, the two best times that for to start anything is the day you were born and right now. So if you didn't start way back then, the next best time is to start right now. So don't be discouraged. Don't lose hope. If there's still hope for you, start now, start today.
I like that a lot. Thank you for that. That was powerful right there. We use the words PROA in NWR Financial, which is Private Reserves Account, but that's essentially what it is. It's the Roth IRA. So that, like you said, that's just, it's mind blowing for me, because when I found out about it, I was like, you said what? We could do what? Like, oh snap. I'm about to get this. Let's get this popping. So, it gave me like, if in 10 years, if you do this, you'll do that. And I'm like, all right, bet. So just as a sidebar, sorry you guys for the bad echo. I'm going to just try to mute and then switch as we go. We're learning as we go. So I'm sorry about that, you guys, but I will make sure that I mute myself so that you guys can hear him clearly and that there won't be any back feed or anything of that sort. So we are on Instagram as well, you guys. Thanks for joining. And they asked what kind of savings was that you were talking about. So you were talking about the Roth IRA. Is there anything more you want to talk about on that? So it looks like some people on Instagram are asking more about that.
Yeah, so that is long-term savings. If a person has already savings built up already, and I'm sure there may be some listeners may already have a savings, maybe just sitting in a regular savings account, but another way you can earn some additional interest or more interest on your money that you have saved aside is a money market account. A money market account is going to give you a little bit more interest on what the money that you have saved aside. And one thing I like about a money market account is that you get quick access to the money. At the same time, it's growing. Your interest is compounding, and it's growing at a faster rate because there's a higher interest rate on your money market account. So you can check at your local bank or whatever bank that you bank with and inquire about a money market account. And again, that's for if you want your money to grow at a higher interest rate, and you may need to get access to that money in case of an emergency. So what I also advise my clients as well is if you have your emergency fund saved up. And what I'm more so speaking of is before I was talking about a small emergency fund or a starter emergency fund. But after you get out of debt and lay that foundation where you're debt free, you want to begin to build up a larger emergency fund or a larger savings of about 3 to 6 months of your savings. Once you have that in place, then I would suggest place that in a money market account. The way that money that you got set aside for that 3 to 6 months of expenses, it's growing at a much rapid pace because it's in a money market account. That's what it's designed for. So I would advise you can do a money market account. But I think you said the question was they were asking questions about 401ks or Roth 401s. You check with your employer about that. If they don't have that in place or have that available at your employer, you can definitely check with your bank as well. And they can give some additional information on how to set up a 401k. Most likely, it's probably be a Roth 401 because they're not able to, as far as retirement savings, they're not able to, get your money pre-tax. That's only employers can do that as far as getting pre-tax dollars. And the one advantage to a pre-tax or 401k or traditional 401k is that you are putting money into a retirement fund pre-tax. Means that, hey, if I'm getting $500 taken out of my check to go into a pre-tax retirement, that means it lowers my tax bracket, which means I'm paying less taxes going out. So as you know, traditionally, if you have an employer, if you're getting paid by an employer, you're getting taxed on your salary. But if you have 401k or a pre-tax 401k, that reduces the amount of taxes that come out of your pocket, and it goes towards that long-term retirement.
Alrighty, yeah. So that's awesome. All right, you guys. Before we wrap up, is there any questions? Anybody that's on either Facebook Live or Instagram Live, do you guys have any more questions when it comes to your money and such? Just a quick recap. We talked about the almost three necessary things when it comes to the basis of starting your finances, which is your mindset, your behavior, and your attitude, you guys. Your attitude and your mindset towards your money matters, and the behavior that you have. Are you mistreating your money? Are you just selling in and doing anything willy-nilly, or actually paying attention and being that steward, you guys? All right. We also talked about saving money. At least it's good to have at least a thousand or so, saved. And then afterwards, getting your money to work for you once you get out that hole of debt and such. And you can do that where it's PRAs, Roth, 401ks, whatever the necessary case may be. And I'm glad you added in the MMA. That was awesome. That little keynote, because not too many people know about that. And so that's our job tonight, is to teach people. So any questions, you guys? Anything you want to say as we wrap up? Anything? Last thing.
Yeah, I just want to say, thank you for the opportunity. But to anyone out there listening, there is hope. It's never too late. All of us have a story. All of us started somewhere. No one came out the womb with all this information, as far as financial literacy. There's hope for you. I too have a story. I was in over almost $60,000 in debt, and I came up with a plan, and I got out of it, and I just started at that moment when I said enough is enough. So regardless of how big or how small your debt is, or you feel like your problem is, there's hope. That's one thing I just want to tell anyone listening, that there's hope, and start today. If you feel like you just don't know where to start, contact somebody. Get with Kenyon and his team. And get with someone who's able to help you to coach you through it, because money is a big topic. So if you feel like you don't have the information or the tools or resources, contact somebody, get help. There's a ton of help out there. We're all willing to help. So there's hope.
What's your information?
I'm sorry?
So, what's your information for if anyone wanted to reach out to you, since you're a personal financial coach and such? How could they reach out to you?
Okay, sure. The name of my company is On Purpose for a Purpose. You can reach me at op4purpose@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website, which is op4purpose.com, and you can subscribe there and request a free consultation. That's something that you feel like you need. You go in there, subscribe, and I'll get in contact with you and set up an initial consultation to kind of see where you're at and see where what steps you want to take to help build your future. So again, that's op4purpose@gmail.com. You can email me directly there, or you can go to my website at op4purpose.com and subscribe there, and we will get in contact with you.
Alrighty, yes. Thank you guys for commenting that. We went ahead and put that up there so you can see it. Thank you once again, sir, for coming on. I really do appreciate this. As he said, you guys, he's a personal financial coach. He is just awesome, legit. I seen him outside of things, so I know that he practices what he preaches, and that's why I wanted him to come on. So thank you once again. You guys, thanks for joining us tonight for our first night of Cerebro Academy. We are going to be back again tomorrow at noon. I will have Ms. Boomy Moore. She's a top leader in MWR Financial. She's going to talk to you guys about building wealth and your credit and such, and how you can work on that, you guys. So thanks again, Mr. Jerome, for coming on. I really do appreciate your again. Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right, you guys. So thanks for joining us. Take care. Join us for tomorrow on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah. Thank you.